Hi, everyone. Good evening. I hope you're all well. I'm speaking to you from Dallas. So excited that you've hit 21 days. I mean, well done. 3 weeks. You have changed your life. I have to tell you, doing real change, real effective change is getting down there in the deep and the dark hard work. It's not a quick fix. And I think those of you now that have gone through this with me for 3 weeks, you can see that this is hard work. You know, we live in a society where quick fix, give me a pill, make it happen, make it go away quickly is kind of the rage. I'm not teaching that, as you've seen. It's hard work, it takes time, but that is how change is basically effected. Now, I know tomorrow is the 21st day, but I just want to, today I'm going to explain to you exactly what happens after these 3 weeks and how it works and answer your questions. And I just know that you're going to benefit so much from keeping this going as a lifestyle. Remember, this is not something you just do one off. This is a lifestyle of change. Changes take time to build a new habit. Takes at least 63 days, which is 3 cycles of 21. So today, the main thing I'm going to explain to you is how that works. How does this change over 21 days works? I've got to have a quick sip of coffee. I just ran in the door from somewhere. So coffee is God's juice. I recommend coffee to you. So give me 1 second while I have a sip of coffee here. My throat is so dry. Now I can talk. I've got some God's juice in me. Okay, so first, I've got a bunch of questions too. So the first thing is, let's first talk about how the 21 days works, how the 63 days works. What are you going to do after these 21 days? Okay, so the first 21 days is what you've been doing to identify the underlying toxic issue and all its associated branches. And also, what's happening is you are breaking down the long-term memory of that toxic issue and you're rebuilding a healthy new replacement memory. So you're doing those two things at the same time. So basically, if you think of it this way, you've identified a toxic thing in my life, what I've been working on, and this is what I've been putting in the daily notes, an email that we've been sending you. I've been working on all the things that I've got to do. I get sometimes can get very panicky and overwhelmed by all the chronic and acute stresses that happen, and I can get like a little bit of brain fog and not work as well as I could if I get too worked up. So I've been working on staying calm in the midst of a lot of stuff to do and also dealing with a lot of acute stresses. And we had a family issue. One of our family members got really, really ill. They still are. And I've had to deal with all that in these 3 weeks on top of my normal workload, which has been, it's a little bit excessive at the moment because we've got a lot of major deadlines that we're working on. So I always do a lot, but there's a few extra things on top of my normal workload. And then we've had a major acute stressor. So I've been working on, and I didn't know this was going to happen at the beginning of these 3 weeks, this acute stressor, but I've been working on how to manage all of that together and the kind of emotions I've been going through and et cetera, et cetera. So I've used these 3 weeks and I feel so much more in control of how to manage my day. I developed this process and I'm using it still, and it helps me. And when I'm finished this on the 20, tomorrow's the 21st day, the next day I'm going to start working on a new toxic issue. I might decide to carry on working on this issue, and those are some of the things we'll talk about today. So the big thing with the numbers is that it takes 21 days to build a new long-term memory and 21 days to break down the toxic memory. So those two you're doing parallel. So in this first 21 days, you've identified, broken down, taken the energy away from the toxic memory, and you've built it into the healthy new replacement memory. And so you've basically built a new reconceptualized long-term memory of this new way that you're going to function. This, for me, it is managing the not going into toxic stress, but staying in positive stress to manage the acute and chronic stresses and not get overwhelmed. That's what I've been working on in various different ways. So now I've broken down the toxic where I get worked up, and I've built a healthy new long-term memory. I really do feel in control now. I feel so much more effective, but I know that for this new way of working for me, this new way of thinking when I'm under this kind of pressure, for it to become a habit, I have to consciously deliberately and intentionally practice in a very, very conscious and deliberate way, practice stabilizing or automatizing this new way of functioning. Automatizing is the fancy scientific word for building a habit. Habits are not built in 21 days. You may have read a lot about that, but that is a complete myth. Habits take at least 3 cycles of 21 days. In other words, 21, 21, 21, which is 63 days. So it takes around about 63 days, and that's not a hardcore number, 60 to 65 days, somewhere in that region, to build a habit. Now, when something is a habit, it's an automatic behavior. It doesn't mean that there's no intelligence behind it. There's extreme intelligence. It just means that this new way of thinking, whether it is this example that I gave it that I'm working on in my life, or whether it was a trauma you're maybe identifying and trying to reconceptualize, whatever it is you're working on and will be working on, because this is a lifestyle, once you have the hardest work is done in the first 21 days. That's where you're spending these 15 to 35 minutes every day of that hard, intensive working through the 5 steps. But for the next 42 days, you don't have to work through the 5 steps for what you've just worked on. You just have to practice remembering to use it. And that's just 7 little reminders during the course of the day to keep it in the forefront of your consciousness. Research shows that if you're aware, if you self-regulate a new behavior, that you try and incorporate it into your daily life, and you do that daily for at least another 42 days, you're going to automatize it, which then means it's going to move down into your non-conscious mind, and your non-conscious mind operates 24/7. It operates on quantum principles, so it's incredibly fast. It's where your intelligence resides. It's where all this incredible action resides. It is the filter through which you operate. So when something's in the non-conscious mind and it has lots of energy attached to it, that means that when you're in that similar situation, that's what pops up and that guides your next decision. So let me give you a simple example. When you learn to drive a car, if you're teaching your kids maybe at the moment, or you remember teaching your kids, or you remember learning to drive a car yourself, all those things, at first it was really awkward. Think of riding a bicycle, whatever, but let's take the car example. At first, everything was all awkward, and you were stalling the car and trying to coordinate all these different things you have to do to drive a car. It kind of feels impossible at first. Even the first few days, you have to do it daily. And eventually, maybe after about 7 days, you're kind of getting a handle on it. And by the second week, you're feeling fairly confident and, maybe even a little overconfident. And by 3 weeks, you're actually starting to get the hang of driving. You kind of feel like you can sort of master that car. But then it really takes daily practice after that to really get to the point where you feel at day 63, after 9 weeks, that you actually feel confident enough maybe to drive on the highway on your own or something like that. Or you as a parent maybe feel, okay, it's been 9 weeks now, more or less. You feel confident that your child can drive. And so you then get into the life of driving. Now you've maybe been driving like me. I've been driving for 40 odd years. So when I get in a car, it's just automatic, which doesn't mean that I'm not thinking. It means that the networks in my brain that I built when I first learned to drive, and that every time I've got in a car, I've added more and more and more branches, more and more experience to the experience of driving. So every time I got in the car to drive, that network that I initially built when I learned to drive pops up, and more experience, more branches are added. And then I drive, and then I stop driving, and so that then sinks back into the unconscious mind. But as I'm get in the car again, so that memory comes up. I don't have to struggle through the process of driving anymore. I'm just getting better and better all the time. That's the same thing with changing anything in your mind to manage the daily stressors, the acute stresses, those things that blindside you that you're not expecting, the chronic stresses are the day-to-day things you have to do, and then also dealing with those non-conscious drivers. So this Switch app can be used on multiple levels for your lifestyle changes. It's not just used to find the traumas. Sometimes you have a bad habit not from a trauma, but just from developing a bad way of doing something. Like for me, what I've been dealing on this last 2 weeks is not a trauma. It's not trauma based. It is basically bad habit based. I had a bad habit that I had created of getting very worked up and when I had a lot to do, and getting very frustrated and losing quality time and getting brain fog and getting frustrated. And I didn't need to do that. I would lose periods in my day to creativity. Now, having worked on this, I have increased my creativity because I don't have those time wasting moments in my day where I don't handle the frustration of the pressure very well. So that wasn't trauma based. What I was working on was how to manage the day-to-day chronic stresses, and then also how to manage the acute stresses. So I have built in the last 3 weeks a better mind management plan using my Switch app. And I faithfully use it just like you have used it, put it on, listen to myself, which sounds so weird, but listening to myself, I've done exactly what you've done, gone through the 5 steps really deliberately with you and intentionally. So I didn't just do it in my head, I did it the way you've been doing it. And I have trained myself to out of a bad habit and into a new habit. But to make sure that I automatize this over the next 42 days, what I have done is in the Switch app on my phone, I have put into the reminder function a little note to myself that will pop up 7 times a day. And I might add to it or change it, but 7 times a day it's going to pop up on my phone, and it's going to remind me, remember to stay calm. I don't know what different little phrases that I'm going to use. But the first one that I'm going to use for the next week, maybe 2 weeks, the active reach that's going to pop up in my phone is going to be, remember to stay calm. You can do it. And then I'll change it next week. So it'll be something else, or I may keep that one. But it's going to pop up 7 times a day. So as I go through my day and I've got my phone with me, it's going to pop up and I'm going to read that and it's going to remind me. So then it stays in the forefront of my consciousness. And as the day goes on and as all the things come in and this pops up and I start feeling overwhelmed, I remember from looking at my little reminder in my app that, oh gosh, okay, I must stay calm. I can do this. Or maybe like one of the active reaches I'm going to do is to, I've said to myself, don't be scared to express how you feel, because sometimes we pretend that we're okay. Meanwhile, inside it's bubbling up. If I get frustrated, I'm going to get it out, say, oh, I'm frustrated or whatever, and then I'm going to move forward. I'm not going to get stuck in the frustration. So I'm going to get it out and I'm going to move forward. So I've got a whole lot of little phrases, active reaches that I'm going to put into my phone to remind me. And as they pop up, they remind me. So as the day is happening, I've got those little things to remind me. Now you could also put them in the reminder functions on your phone. I do that too. So I put them in my app, so it pops up there. I put them in my phone, so they pop up on my computer. And then the little thing pops up, the stop, remember, practice your if only today, remember to stay calm today. And then it just keeps reminding me. So I keep being brought back into that space. It's conscious, it's deliberate, and it takes me a second to read it. So the time invested in these next 42 days is in preparing the little active reaches, typing them into the active reach reminder on your phone and in your app. You can even use sticky notes if you want. Stick them on your computer, stick it on your phone. You may want to put them in your journal. You may want to put them in multiple places. I have people that put them in their phone, the app reminder, on Post-its, and on Post-its on the computer. You know, you've got that Post-it function on your computer, and have a journal. I don't mind. Do whatever it takes to keep you conscious and deliberate for the next 42 days. Honestly, it pops up, you read it. It's literally 7 to 10 seconds a day. So the following 2 cycles of 42 days that take you into the 63-day habit formation stage is literally a 7-second a day function. That's not a lot at all. And it is amazing how it works. Major changes are happening in your brain. You are turning those proteins, stabilizing those protein little computers that are holding the information. You are giving lots and lots of energy. Think of it like watering a plant. You are watering that plant of that habit, that it becomes so strong that it just is part of who you are. It becomes part of your functioning. And people will turn around and say, what's changed? You're so different. You're handling things so differently, or you're responding differently. But that comes from hard work. It is not a quick fix. I said this right in the beginning. I say it often with my work. None of my stuff's a quick fix. Real solutions are not quick fixes. If you want a quick fix, you're in the wrong place. It's hard work. It's deep work. And when you're working on unconscious traumas, unconscious drivers, things that are traumas, those, it's really hard work. Can I relate it to that? Is What do you do at the same time? Do you wait the whole 63 days and then only start another 21-day detox? No. As I've just explained, the next 42 days is only a few seconds a day. You're just literally reading your little active reach to remind you what to do. It could be a scripture, it could be, I don't know, whatever helps you. You got to work that out, okay? So it's quick. That doesn't mean that you can't still continue tomorrow morning or whenever it is that you do you do the 21-day detox, whenever you use the Switch app, you carry on with a new thought. So tomorrow's the 21st day, tomorrow's Tuesday. So on Wednesday, I start a new toxic thought. I've got a list of what I'm going to work on. I'm going to make that decision tomorrow sometime, and then I will start a new toxic thought. And that will be my morning time. I do my Switch app in the morning when I'm getting ready. So when I'm getting my hair done and my makeup on and getting dressed and showering, that is my time when I do my 21-day detox. It's a habit. I have trained myself. So I will start in the morning and I will spend my 15 to 30 minutes in the morning on a new toxic thought starting Wednesday, and I'll work on that for the 21 days. In the meantime, during the course of the day, my reminders pop up. So in the morning, I'm working on that new thought, and that's got its 7 active reaches. They're also quick. So on Wednesday, I'm going to have my active reach that's going to pop up from day 1 7 times on my phone. And I'm going to have 7 reminders also popping up on my phone, on my computer, of what I just worked on. So I just read 2 things. I'd read 2. So in the day, during the course of the day, so Tuesday morning, I'm going to work Wednesday morning to start my new thought, put my little reminders into my phone. Tuesday, during the course of the day, 7 of those will pop up. I read them to remind myself, or whatever my active reach is. Also, during the course of the day, 7 little reminders will pop up from last month. So I'm going to read 14 little things. How long is it going to take me? Around about 14 seconds. Even if it takes me a minute, that's nothing. I'm talking about a minute a day, guys. It's not that difficult. In the morning, you just do your normal 5 steps over the 7 to 15 to 30 minutes, and then you just work through your active reminder function on your phone, the app. Use your iPhone, use the Switch app reminder, use your journal, whatever. You just train yourself. This is so good. This is a routine. This is what athletes do. This is what, if you want to change, it's a routine that you're building into your life. I'm teaching you how to build habits. I'm giving you a life skill. When you do this, you are getting a life skill for habit formation that is going to completely change how your brain functions. We see from the clinical trials that we're doing now is that when you do this kind of thing in this organized way, you're bringing brain balance, you're bringing coherence to your brain, and this will carry over into the other parts of your life. So not only will you be working on this 21-day detox and the new one and your your active reach reminders in the new 21-day detox you're working on, plus in practicing the previous ones, not only are you doing that, but you are this new discipline, this new way of thinking, this new organized way of thinking aligns with how your brain is structured. So it stimulates the right kind of what we call alpha activity. You increase what we call the alpha bridge in your brain, which means that you access the non-conscious part of your mind where the good stuff is stored, where some of the bad memories, that's where the bad memories are as well, but you get more connection between the non-conscious that drives you 24/7 and your conscious mind, which means you're becoming more self-regulated. You get more gamma activity across your brain flowing from the front to the back of your brain, and that will increase your insight, your wisdom, your cognitive fluency, the associations you make in your brain. You will have lots of beta activity, which means you're online processing. You will have bursts of high beta and then release. You don't want constant bursts of high beta because that'll make you anxious. That anxiety will start dropping down. What we have seen from our clinical trials is that when you do these 5 steps, you can control depression, anxiety, you can control that chaos in your brain. You really are cleaning up the mental mess. That's the name of the podcast. If you haven't subscribed yet to my podcast, I strongly recommend that you subscribe to my podcast. It's free. And you can listen to all these concepts when you're in your car and doing your exercise, 15-minute talks to help you get even more ideas for your Switch app. My podcast will give you great ideas for active reaches, great ideas to work on in your podcast, on your Switch, when you're using the Switch app. And don't forget, if this is the first time you're hearing about this, no problem. Just dive in and start tomorrow. You can download the Switch app on Google Tunes, Google and iPlay, iTunes. I'm saying everything that you find Google and iTunes. And you can also go and look at the switch.app. We'll put this in the show notes where you can go and find out about the app, but it's on iTunes. So on Google Play, it costs $69 for the entire year, which is nothing. This thing has cost a lot of money to develop. It's based on 30 years of my clinical research and my clinical application, working with 25 years with patients, intensive audio-driven therapy, me literally giving you therapy. Therapy costs anything from $150 to maybe $550, sometimes $600 an hour. I am teaching you how to use your powerful mind to manage your mind, to manage the daily stresses, the acute stresses, those traumas, making good decisions about your identity, making good decisions about diet and exercise and helping you sleep. This is what it's going to carry over into your lifestyle. And considering the fact that 95% of these diseases come from the mismanagement of lifestyle, this Switch app is teaching you how to manage your lifestyle to be able to apply this across the board. So it's really a worthwhile investment of your time, your energy, your finances. And $69 is not a lot of money when you consider what you're getting. Also, we keep adding in new information. We just updated the audio about a month ago. It's amazing, the new audio. All the stuff that I teach, all the techniques are going to be added into the app. We've just started adding in mini audio guides. And the first one that is going to be coming up very soon, which you'll have access to if you've subscribed, is how to manage a panic attack. So if you're having a panic attack, you can press play, go to it, press play, and you're going to be able to have this wonderful guide. Eventually you'll have for children, for teenagers, for corporates, for sports, for managing this, for managing that, all kinds of things being built into the app to support you and to help you with your mental health. We change the world one mind at a time. Okay, now I'm going to answer some questions. Okay, so we have had people asking why there are no scriptures. So let me quickly explain why there are no scriptures. Science comes from the word skura. Skura means knowledge. God is the source of all knowledge. Okay, so if I talk science, I am talking spirituality. And this app is for everyone. And not everyone talks the language of the Bible. People have different ways of speaking spirituality. So science and spirituality are the two sides of the same coin. I always say this: the Bible tells the story and science tells us how the story works, both from God's language. Okay, so science is literally a spiritual how-to. Okay, so that's where science is a neutral language as well. It's a language of neutrality. It's a language of facts. It comes from God anyway. There is a download in the Switch app, a prayer journal in the Switch app, and it's also 21 days. So you can download that. You can download that journal. You can go into the app, you can find it, and then you can see day one as you do the audio of the actual app. You can then look at day one of the prayer journal, and they correspond. So you've got lots of ideas for scriptures and things there. So you can blend the two, and that can then help give you active reaches and things like that. So I'm still speaking God when I speak science. So don't get stuck in thinking that science and scriptures are separate. Where does science come from in the first place? All knowledge comes from God. Okay, so great question, this next one. I'm having anxiety about going into the next cycle and addressing a new toxic issue when I don't feel like I have a good grasp on this first cycle. What should I do? Love that question. Just carry on doing the same thing. If you don't feel you've resolved the issue yet, absolutely just stay with it next month. For the next 3 weeks, just go into it. So in the morning on Wednesday, start wherever you finished off tomorrow, just pick up on and keep going through it in the morning on your 5 steps, and then that means you're just going to have 7 active reaches for the day. You won't have 14 because you're not starting something new. Okay, so you can just continue if you feel the need. There's no hard and fast rule, because some things are huge. Some things, like, I feel I can move on to another thing now. I feel like I've got this overwhelmed thing, but there has been times when I've worked on stuff that I actually did that I thought were bad habits, but actually they were traumas. Traumas do take longer. A bad habit is easier to fix than a trauma, because traumas are always so interlinked and related to so many different things. So absolutely, if you feel that this has not been dealt with, please do not get anxious about it. Just stay where you are and go through this. This is meant to enable you and empower you. Remember, though, there's always this little bit of, as you saw on the day when I dealt with uncertainty. Uncertainty can make us feel uncomfortable. Challenge can make us feel uncomfortable. But your brain is structured to respond to challenge and to uncertainty. Don't be scared of uncertainty. Don't be scared of sadness and anxiety and depression. Get in with it, because inside that you're going to find the answers. Okay? And I'm doing a podcast very soon on uncertainty that will really help you as you work through the Switch app. And you can access the podcast through the Switch app as well. Okay, next question. If I don't get to all 7 reminders in one day, should I move on to the next day? On the next day, or should I stick with the day I'm on and complete the active reaches? Okay, so maybe your active reaches okay, first of all, I would just keep going on, keep moving forward. Doesn't matter if you didn't get all 7 active reaches done. Try and do as many as you can in the day, but then I would just make sure that you shorten your active reach. An active reach needs to be short and simple. Okay, as simple as a little statement that says, remember to do your if only today. Remember to stay calm today. Have maybe a scripture that you say to remind yourself of my God shall meet all my needs, or something. So an active reach is meant to be something simple that pops up on your screen and that you can do very, very quickly. Pops up on the screen of your computer, or in the active reach reminder in the Switch app, or on your phone, or in your journal that you've written down. It's not meant to be a whole long, big exercise. It's meant to be something very simple, something that you can do in a couple of seconds to a couple of minutes. And then that should help you get through the active reach reminders. Can I stick with the same issue? We've also said that. Oh, I would love to hear testimonies. I've been reading some of them already in the Facebook group, and I catch up every couple of days on the Facebook group. And I think it's just so great how you're encouraging each other. So send us testimonies. You can post them on the YouTube. You can send us an email. Stick them up on Instagram, on Facebook. There's multiple ways that you can send through testimonies. You can put them up on iTunes and Google Play. Stick your testimonies there. That's great. Then other people can see when they're searching about the app. They can see how it's helped you. One of the things I'm trying to teach you is that it's not about you in the world. It's not just about you and your problems. It's about you being part of a community. When you get helped, help others. Reach out and help others. That enhances your brain. It's not about competition. It's about enhancement. It's about sharing your experience. When you help others, when you bless others, you improve your own brain function. You increase your own brain health. You increase your own body health. So don't be scared to share. I love your testimonies. They teach me stuff. They help me write better books and write better programs. They help others. They get other people excited. It's so exciting to see the changes that people are making. Okay, sorry, I just was trying to read some of these questions that are coming up at the same time. Okay, it looks like we've got a problem here with the connection for a second. I'm just going to try and fix it up. Can someone just text me if you're still able to hear me? Okay, we've got a slight problem with the connection with some people. I'm going to try and fix this. Okay. It looks like people are hearing. Okay, so the next question I have is that we will be continuing to update and the app and make lots of changes. So as you are in the subscription, you're not going to have to pay for that. Once you have bought the $69 subscription, you're going to benefit from any update that happens. Okay, so you can get all the updates, everything that we add, you're going to be getting. And there's constantly going to be new things. Okay, and then I have a few more great questions that came through just a few moments ago. This is a great question. What happens if you can't do the brain autopsy and 5 steps every single day, and you miss a day or two, but you do one every 2 days and keep it up until you reach 21 days? Will it still work or just take a lot longer? It'll just take longer. So if you find there are days that you find that you're just too busy, that is, life happens. That is why I do mine when I'm getting ready, because every day you are going to be getting ready. So attach your detox to something that you do every day. Like you clean your teeth every day. You spend 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes in the evening, 4 minutes a day on cleaning your teeth. Attach your detox to something like that. So I'm cleaning my teeth and I'm doing my detox. I'm putting on my makeup, I'm doing my hair, I'm getting my clothes on. Also, that getting ready moment is where I do my detox. And so that's why I have found it very easy to get my 5 steps done. But even so, sometimes something happens and you're on the phone when you're getting ready or something, and you miss out and you just don't find a good time, and a day gets skipped. So it just may take you longer to finish the 21 days. It may take you 28 days or something, but just keep going and don't stop. Okay, great question. Next one. Is the thought that you are working on supposed to be super specific, like I'm a failure as a mom, or can it be broader thought that encompasses many smaller ones, like a fear of failure? That is such a good question, because sometimes it will start with I'm a broad failure, the more broad one, like I'm a failure. And then you realize that there's some sort of trauma related to someone telling you when you were maybe a teacher when you were in second grade or something, telling you that you'll always be a failure or something like that, or you misinterpreted them, but it's stuck. And it's kind of always been at the back of your mind, driving everything you do. And you find as you go through the 21-day detox that was the trauma. And then suddenly now it's the next 21 days, and you start and you see in the process of the big broader one, you find that, oh, actually this is actually gone into me being a failure as a mom. So then just spend the next 21 days on that and unpacking that and seeing what you actually do well and what you don't, and maybe that you're being hard on yourself or whatever. Unpack that, and then maybe it applies to, you always think you're a failure at friendships. So that's really often you may spend 6 months just working on all the failure stuff, and it started off with a broad one and then it got more and more specific. So just go with the flow. Very, very good question. Okay, well, that's all for today. I just want to encourage you that we will be doing more detox challenges. We'll announce them. So join us, subscribe to our email list. Make sure you subscribe to my podcast. Leave reviews on the podcast. Give us testimonies. We'll keep the Facebook group. You can keep chatting to each other. Follow me on Instagram and social media, and we'll be announcing when we do more challenges. We're going to do them in different ways. If you've got some ideas of how you'd like to do a challenge, how you'd like to see me interacting with you doing challenges, please send me those ideas. I would love to see them. I would love to be able to meet your needs and work with us together as a community, because we can change the world one mind at a time. Okay, I'm going to have a quick look. There's a couple of questions. Someone is saying, I'd like to know about how the 21-day brain detox. Okay, you answered that. Okay, no, I've answered pretty much all of those questions. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you so much and congratulations. And we will check in. As I said, follow us on all those platforms, and I will check in on you again, and we'll do a YouTube again soon. So keep following so that you know when we're going to connect again. Have an amazing evening and congratulations. And remember, this is just the beginning. You have just started. This is not the end. You don't just do this once. You have to keep doing it. You're going to do 17 detoxes a year. 365 divided by 21 is 17. So this year 17, next year 17, the following year 17. And remember, you'll get used to these 5 steps. You'll see when you do this next cycle now, you're going to find it super easy to be able to actually, really easy, so much easier than the first time around. Each time you get into this more and more easily. In fact, I think what we'll do is try and do a YouTube live in 63 days time. If you'd like to do that, give me a heads up on that, and we can connect back again in 63 days time, and based on your questions we can have a discussion about where you're all at in 63 days. God bless everyone. Hope to see you soon, and keep going. I'm proud of you.